Formula 1 returns to America for the Circuit of Americas in Texas for round 2 of the 2020 season, and the first of the 3 tracks along with Monaco and Hungary later in the season, which will adopt the wildcard point system, which means every team and driver will come out with at least 1 point from this weekend, even if the driver who finishes last place doesn't even make it to turn 1 on the race day. Sergio Perez though, we're looking to continue his amazing form from the season opener, where the Mexican on his return managed 7th place in the race, and he's looking for another top 12 finish here, or we're looking to take advantage also of the point system to gain as many points as he can. Toyota though once again looks to have a stronghold on this race weekend. Massachusetts and Hamilton clear favourites, dominating once again all 3 practice sessions with the same 3 or 4 tenth gap back to the nearest challenger, and this meant that Renault had to fast track some upgrades for this weekend, which they were planning to bring at round 4, with Hulkenberg and Verne looking closest to Toyota on race pace, but still nowhere near the Japanese mark in qualifying. Hey guys, Renault here. Welcome back to Formula 1. Here we go for round 2 of the season here at the Circuit of Americas using the short layout, and then taking a look at the grid. It was Hamilton who takes pole once again and the 3 points with it, but it was the Renault 2nd and 3rd. The upgrades appear to be working, with Hulkenberg and Verne 2nd and 3rd. Arcel was a surprise in P4, but this track does tend to go well for us, with Massachusetts only in P5. Latifi with a great qualifying starts from 6th in the Williams, ahead of the Mercedes of Kvyat, with Norris 8th in the McLaren, with Leclerc Magnussen rounding off the top 10. That's we're just missing out on Q3, with Perez once again starting inside the top 12, ahead of Albon who had a nightmare session in the Red Bull, just beating out Sete Camara. And then again Verstappen's only down in P15, so the Red Bulls surprisingly look to be having a bit of a mare around this circuit. You've got Haryanto in P16 ahead of the 2nd Mercedes of George Russell. You've got defending champion Mick Schumacher down in 18th place, and things really aren't working out too well so far for the German. And then lining up there on the grid, we've got Gasly and Stroll in 19th and 20th. And we've got Latifi. He's a bit of an unknown. We've got the Massachusetts going to be looking to make an early move on us as well, I imagine. And just waiting for the back row cars to line up now. And now we come to the far red light for the start of the US Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. And that's like a pretty nice one for Hamilton there, because Hamilton on the racing line, so you'd expect the him to get a good start. But Latifi they got an absolute blinder up the inside line. That's going to go for a massive dive into turn 1. We're now into P3, going to try and split the rest. Go for 2nd place. The Canadian in his 2nd Formula 1 race, looking to make an impact. I mean, he needs to, especially with Mick Schumacher as his teammate. And we shimmy down the order. This is Latifi's time to shine, where he needs to shine as well. And he gets it now into P3, splitting the Renaults. And an absolutely brilliant start there from Nicholas Latifi. Of course on the dirty line as well, so he wouldn't even have the optimal traction off the start, but he just managed to absolutely just send it into turn 1 because of the uphill braking. They managed to make it work as well. You also got one of the Mercedes Daniel Kvyat managed to get in front as well, as we were busy trying to deal with Latifi. So then we're down now into P7, so not the best start in the world for us, but this track, it suits us on race pace. We've had some massive charges here in the past, so we're going to need to do the same again, but with Alfa Romeo, as it always is, it takes a couple of laps for the tyres to get up to temperature into working range, so it's going to be sliding around for the first 2 laps. As it always is at the start, it's about downward limitation, trying not to lose too many positions. So the Ferrari after race 1 proved to be pretty naff. It's still going to be quicker than us because our tyres aren't up to temperature yet. And then looking on board here with Nicholas Latifi in the Williams Honda, as it is this year. And actually pulling away, so some good showdown speed from Latifi, so I imagine he's putting off a little bit of a low drag center. I mean, this track, basically it was all just corners. And also being the shortest track on the calendar in terms of distance for a lap time as well. Now then, further on, we've so we're looking at this train of cars. We've got Latifi still holding up the Renault of Hulkenberg, I think that is. I think that's, couldn't quite see the number, but Hulkenberg with the DRS now gaining on the back of Latifi. And to the inside line there of the Canadian, left the door open because Canadian Latifi is still a rookie. It's only his 2nd race in F1, so you can kind of forgive him for not ideally knowing where to put his car as of yet. And he's got Massachusetts to deal with as the next car right up behind him. Now just make the way through the S section now and take the hard left-hander through this. The shortcut section which takes us onto the end of the back straight if the full circuit was being used. But ever since it wasn't ready a couple of years ago, this layout has been the one that's stuck. And honestly, I mean, it's a technical nightmare, this track. To try and get any overtaking done. As you see there, we're on to lap 7 already, and we're still in P7, so for our race at least, nothing really has actually happened. We've been gaining back on Kvyat, we've been sliding all over the place though in the dirt, yeah, this Alpha being more of a front-running car, well, at least aims to be a front-running car this season more than it was last. It's going to work less and less in the dirt, yeah, 'cause that's the thing. And that was a horrific corner cut. Apologies about that, but we managed to get away with it somehow. I just turned in too early, expecting the car to understeer, and for once it actually gripped. But either way, though, we managed to get away with it. The stewards saw nothing wrong with that, but definitely won't be doing that too often. Over nearly 9 tenths down on our fastest lap. We've got a move there going on up the inside line there. And we actually got Massachusetts going to force his way past Latifi. He doesn't make it stick. The Japanese driver on his return to F1 this season as well. And also racing for Toyota, which looked to be the team to beat as of right now. You definitely need to make the moves with the order. Now chase down the 2 runners, which appear to be the nearest challenges to Toyota in this race, at least anyway. But you can never discount the Mercedes there of Kvyat, because we've seen from the first race, you've got a podium, he was way behind the Toyotas, but still, Kvyat, we've seen the Russian with incredible consistency pretty much all throughout his F1 career so far, no matter what car he's in, whether it's a championship contender or something completely horrific like the Toro Rosso of 2014, Red Bull of 2015. And the 2017 Red Bull as well. Kvyat, no matter what, he's always there or thereabouts. And then we come through the backwards corner from Turkey, instead of being the left-hander, it's the right. And then we've got Kvyat all over the back of Latifi, so the Canadian not looking like he can keep up his early pace. There we've got Kvyat around the final corner, all over the back of the Canadian. He's going to be close enough to make a move. He's going to have DRS on the back of the Williams, but the Williams, we're seeing it's pretty nippy in a straight line, even with the Honda engine going for a low drag header. But Kvyat is going to send it to the inside line of Nicholas Latifi. Look to outbrake the Canadian, going to force him out wide, and he just managed to sweep across the nose of Nicholas Latifi. So a nice move there from Kvyat. So Latifi, in fair play, a great opening first lap, but now the natural pace of the Williams is bringing him back into play with the sort of midfield cars. So Latifi, if he can still finish in, where is he now, 6th or 7th place, that'd still be, an amazing result for Latifi, given he scored points last time as well, so no matter what, you keep your point streak alive in this race, but the finish inside the top 12 will definitely not go amiss for the Canadian. But now then, it's our time to make a move on our former team, and now then onto lap 10 in the same place. So all over the back here of Latifi. Obviously, we're not really going to be dropping him yet, but it's still coming close towards the pit stop times. We're going green through sector 1, so in a straight line, this is basically what the first sector is, with this Ferrari engine working well for us so far. Now, Latifi goes a little bit defensive inside line. Maybe he was trying to fake us going into the pit lane, but because we're a world champion, we're not going to fall for moves like that. So now we've got a DRS on the back of the Canadian, and now we're starting to reeling him in, now coming down the end of the straight, but coming into how long do you think about diving inside line? Latifi goes, well, he's starting to learn now, goes defensive to the inside line, does what he needs to do. Now then, can we make a move going through the section? I mean, unless we get some sort of worldly run, we're going to have to stick behind Latifi through here. We have a little bit of a look there to the inside line, but honestly, we're just trying to put him off, trying to force him into a mistake. Honestly, that's all we can really do. And then we're going now through the shortcut part of the line, but all over the back, pretty much pushing the Williams through the corner. And now we're going to go for a move on the inside line here. Latifi have a little look. Latifi gets lay on the brakes, just manages to go across the front of our nose without actually making contact with us. At least it was a minus bit of contact, so we wouldn't get any damage from that anyway. But Latifi, he's seen what moves have been made on him, and looks like now he's learning how to actually defend from these moves. And this is what he needs to do in the Williams. Now, like I say, with this race, we're shooting down the order. All the attention is going to be on Nicholas Latifi. Now we're coming through the sweeping right-hander once again. This is where the Williams actually pulls away from us a little bit, because we're getting the dirty air from the back of that Williams Honda. Latifi comes to the pace, and we're going to come in there with him and option us down for an extra lap, so our tyres are pretty much finished now at this point, because we're still going to be getting the undercut on everyone else around us. So we might not get the advantage straight away on Latifi, but we're getting the advantage on the Renaults, the Toyotas in front of us, and Daniel Kvyat there as well. Now they're coming in for a set of the medium tyres. Now the need will take us to the end of the race. Also medium as well for the Williams of Latifi, and the Williams with the better pit stop there. Managed to keep us from, of course, with Williams finishing higher up in the championship last season. Of course, we're actually winning the championship, and we're actually winning both of them, doing the double. They get first choice on pit box, and it looks like the pit box they've got is definitely more advantageous than the one we have here at Alfa Romeo. This is about now what it's about what can we do anything even? Can we actually gain on the cars in front? I mean, we got a little bit of a gap to Latifi, so in many ways I'm actually kind of glad that we fell back a little bit. Because looking up from, we got Lewis Hamilton, who's carrying on there for another lap, so Toyota going the opposite, going long on his fitting. I mean, Hamilton, you got an absolutely massive gap now to Matsushita in second place. He managed to clear both the Renaults, so he may not have had the best qualifying mode, but Matsushita he's definitely able to come back, and now here's to the pits, and it's going to be a pit lane battle now then with the one of the Renaults as well, which I'm guessing is probably Verne, since Verne was the lead of the Renaults. And you got the Mercedes there, Kvyat coming in behind as well. Actually, the Renault there, Hulkenberg, so I'm guessing Verne stopped on the previous lap. And Kvyat, once again, like I say, the consistency is there with it. The car so far doesn't seem to be struggling with the DAS. He gets held there for the Red Bull and just manages to come out ahead before the Aston Martin comes along. So not ideal pit stop there for the Russian. As I was saying, the car so far, when the DAS gets to, when they can get it working and optimise it for the circuit, it works well. But the car as a whole, without it, is honestly just on the fringes of the midfield. There we got Latifi there, he's come out just behind, actually gets held out through the corner. Now we can try and make a move there on Nicholas Latifi. Nicky yourself on the Canadian, we're going to breeze around the outside line and make it stick. We made the move on Nicholas Latifi, and that is a move we really needed to get done. Once again, using our experience over the debutant for this season. I think Latifi is also the only rookie on the grid now, all over the back of Kvyat, because the Russians' tyres aren't going to be up to temperature as of yet. So they were all over the back of the Russian. We go green through sector 1, setting our personal best time, which isn't really surprising since we managed to make the move stick, and we've had DRS on Latifi anyway. We're all over the back here of the Russian, so these things, the medium tyres definitely seem to be working better on our Alfa Romeo than what the soft tyres were. Through the sweeping right-hander, still nothing we can do to there. This is where we're gonna lose the time, because we still a few corners to go all over the back of Kvyat. Now we've got about half a second gap or so to reclaim to him as we try and just straight line the corner as much as possible. I mean, if you can get away with it, then of course that's what we need to do. With the DRS on the back of the Mercedes coming up now into turn 1, we're still not close enough to make a move there on down to Kvyat. And we've got everyone else who hasn't stopped yet now making the stops on the end of that lap, so we're going to be back into a position where we should have been, which should be P6, I think is where we were. As we come now through the sweeping S section once again, still not close enough to Kvyat yet to make a move on him. We've got one of the McLarens that are behind us, so they've had a good start, well, first half of the race even, to make up a few places. Now into the middle sector of the lap. And we're still all over the back here of down to Kvyat, but still though nothing we can actually do yet to try and make a move on the Russian. Now moving further on, now looking at our teammate K-Mag, who's a bit further down the order. Definitely not fared as well this weekend in qualifying at least, but we know K-Mag, he's always really got the pace to come back, so I'm definitely expecting him to make a move pretty soon on these cars around us. On the Aston Martin, going on down to turn 1, is going to pull to the inside line of Sergio Perez. He's actually completely season, but Perez tries to go for a switch line, but K-Mag just about manages to park it enough on the apex, so Perez can't come back, and K-Mag, as he always does in the second half of the race, always starts to try space, once again setting the harder tyres. And once the fuel load starts to burn off, that's when K-Mag starts to come into his element. And then we've got the AlphaTauri of Sergio Sette Camera behind him, because Sette Camera, the two Sergios, Perez and Sette Camera, got very familiar with themselves back in the last race, and that time it was Sette Camera that came up on top, so we're going to be looking to do the same once again. Moving further on now, looking towards one of the Renaults of Jean-Eric Verne, actually still getting himself in front of Matsushita, so doing the undercut strategy kept the Frenchman ahead, so I mean that worked out for Renault, but Matsushita, he's going to have something to say about that. He's going to want to make it another another Toyota 1-2. Now then with the DRS on the back of the 2017 champion, Matsushita is just going to power his way past that Toyota so quick in a straight line. The engine power of that thing's absolutely phenomenal, and now that they've got the car to go with it as well, the chassis, the aerodynamics of it, they really do look to have just stolen the march on this season so far. But Renault 3-4, I mean they scored 4th last race, but that was kind of a bit by luck, and that's now a genuine pace. Renault finally look to be on the way up to actually now challenging at the front of the grid. But now Verne, you can have his teammate now of Nico Hulkenberg to deal with in the not too distant future, because imagine I'm sure Hulk's going to be putting team radios out that he's quicker than Verne. He could probably try and chase down Matsushita. See if they managed to keep with him whilst they caught up to the back of Jean-Eric Verne. But this early in the season, are Renault really going to employ team orders, especially asking their number 1 driver to get out of the way of the number 2? Now then, through the final corners, Hulkenberg still all over the back of Jean-Eric Verne. So I don't know if that's anything to do with a lockout there from Verne. So Verne is feeling the pressure from his teammate, from his, I was saying number 2. Imagine that they're on equal status, but they're going to remind Hulkenberg, who's the world champion driver out of the 2. And into turn 1, Hulk, he's not close enough to make a move, and has to stick behind his teammates. So clearly, there's definitely not any team orders going on at Renault. Moving a bit further on, the order's still the same. Massachusetts just creeping away in the distance. I think he's actually out of direct attention, and he is. And now we've got Hulkenberg on the inside line of Jean-Eric Verne coming into turn 1. Is Verne going to try and fight him? Actually, no, Verne backs out of the corner. So imagine they must have eventually give Verne the order to just get out of the way. You know, Hulkenberg now into the podium position, up into P3. Can he try and do anything to chase down Massachusetts to try and get back second place there in the Renault? You can see Hulk's already pulling away from him, and Verne would now be told to back off a little bit to just save his tyre, save the car. There's nothing to fight for in front now. Although on to lap 18, back onto us now. We're back up behind Daniel Kvyat. So yeah, so this race is absolutely a technical nightmare. You just can't overtake anyone really. We've got Latifi behind us. We've dropped the Canadian a little bit. Just still P7 for Latifi will be more than enough for him to prove his worth and silence the critics so far in his first 2 races in F1, which are arguably the hardest thing he got acclimatised to the car. And having a teammate as the defending world champion Mick Schumacher, yeah, it really will be a trial by fire for Latifi just throughout the whole of the season. But he's handling it well so far. P7 once again ahead of Mick Schumacher. Now with the straight line speed of this Alfa Romeo with the foreign, who's going to breeze past Daniel Kvyat. Now we actually got Hulkenberg now ahead of us once again. So yeah, the gloves are off at Renault. I guess he's there as well then, with they're actually managing to re-overtake Hulkenberg. So yeah, that's definitely no team orders going on at Renault. So it was like Hulkenberg before just actually managed to make a genuine move on the Frenchman, but now it's like that actually is what woke up Jean-Eric Verne, going back now into P3. You can see there on the mini map, there's cars out in front. They've managed to re-catch Matsushita. So that the Renaults want to turn up the engines and that, and they actually get their act together. It seems as like we saw in practice, the race pace, they are there with the Toyotas. Although Hamilton's absolutely disappeared into the distance, can't even see him there on the mini map. So it's another surefire race win. So it looks so far for the Brit. He's already way through turn 1, going back down into the SE section. On a shorter track, he's about half a lap in front of us after 19, nearly 20 of the 28 laps of this race. We've got Daniel Kvyat still behind us, so we almost match our best lap, even with having to overtake Daniel Kvyat. Kvyat is in DRS, he's gaining on us, but he's not getting by enough. The Ferrari engine really is something special, it seems, so far. We can really count on the straight line speed of this car. On to lap 27. We've now caught up to Jean-Eric Verne. I think Verne surely must have some kind of car issues to set our personal best first sector. Of course, not going purple because that'll be left-hand to Lewis Hamilton. He's been absolutely on it in this race. And then we're all over the back here with Jean-Eric Verne. So Verne, I'm pretty sure he must have some kind of issue in his car. Now then, we're coming through into the middle section of the lap. Can we even try and make a move? Because the P4 in Alfa Romeo, I mean, it's not going to be a podium, it's not going to be the win, but that I'm hoping will come late in the season. I want to keep my win streak of at least 1 win per season, every season so far. I want to keep that going. And then we're all over the back. Jean-Eric Verne, I think that's like Verne's picking up the pace a little bit, so maybe Verne did honestly just back off, but maybe backed off a little bit too much now because we've managed to catch him up. He's still Daniel Kvyat though, behind us in the Mercedes, 7 seconds behind, so we really have just put the hammer down now. Used up a lot of the rich mix we have available. We've got a lot of ERS still on this final lap as well. Up into rich mix now, onto the final lap of the race. And we're getting on the we're getting back in the straight line, but Verne, he's starting to pull away from us now, but now looking up front to Lewis Hamilton. Actually, now he's only inside the exit sector, so once again, I think like Verne, Hamilton really has just backed off now. I mean, he had the massive lead, and what's the point? if having a massive lead if you're not going to use it up. I mean, if you get a safety car now, he's won the race. So Hamilton now can really afford to back off. You're taking it really, really easy. I mean, it looks there for another Toyota 1-2, and imagine he wants Matsushita to follow him home directly behind once again. I'm sure Matsushita's been instructed now that Hamilton's going to slow down to once again, this is more just a business play for Toyota. They've got the 1-2. They want the two cars to finish with each other. So once again, we all know Hamilton absolutely dominated this Grand Prix. Looks like he's slowing down now to bring Matsushita into camera shot as well. So a good press release will follow with this and get some good images once again. That's coming now then round the final corner, and Lewis Hamilton coming up to the finish line, and now Lewis Hamilton now wins the US Grand Prix. Another Toyota 1-2, Matsushita following him just behind. And with two 1-2s out of 2 so far, this could be another amazing press release for Toyota. It looks like they've been building on it ever since they returned. And with ourselves there in P5, so we didn't quite manage to get past Verne. But still, P5, I'll definitely take that. But Gunter Steiner there, once again, absolutely elated. And no surprise really, with Lewis Hamilton, 2 wins out of 2. Matsushita, 2 second places out of 2. 2 1-2 finishes, maximum points once again. And did they get a fast slap? I mean, I imagine that they did. The team once again celebrating another 1-2 finish, and here looking at Langstroll, P20, not too good there from the Canadian. Taking a look at the end results, as we saw, it was another Toyota 1-2 with maximum points for Lewis Hamilton, with Matsushita in second, and Hulkenberg holding on to the final podium place. Then just manages to beat us to P4. Thus that was in 5th. Daniel Kvyat holds on to P6. And Latifi finishes down in 7th, but still a great showing from the rookie driver. Lando Norris finishing where he started in P8. Just managing to hold off the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. Charles Leclerc lead Ferrari in 10th place. K-Mag in 11th, and Sergio Perez rounding off the top 12 for AlphaTauri. 13th place wouldn't usually get points, but he does this time. And Seti beats his fellow Sergio with Perez in 13th. The Mick Schumacher only getting up to P14 in the Williams. With Seb Vettel in 15th place, or at least he beats a 5-time champion. Haryanto finishes where he started in 16th place in the second McLaren. With Alex Albon down in P17 in the second Red Bull. So a nightmare weekend for the tie. With George Russell down in 18th place in the second Merc, with Gasly in 19th and Lance Stroll, as we saw, in P20. So taking a look at how that affected the driver standings, and unsurprisingly it's still a Toyota 1-2, as it would be. And Hamilton, after 2 races, has a 14-point lead over his teammate. And Hulkenberg, with a 4th and a 3rd, gets up now into P3 on 30 points. 2 points clear then of Daniel Kvyat. Jean-Luc Verne, with a much better showing this time, gets up into P5 on 20 points. And he's 4 points clear of us on 16, so we're joint on points with Seti Camera, but we have the better result. And Sergio is only 1 point clear of Latifi in the lead of the Williams. He's ahead still of Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. And you have Perez down in P10 in the Aston Martin, but I say down in P10, Aston Martin to be in the top 10 in the championship is still a great achievement for them on their return to Formula 1. Norris gets up into P11 on 13 points. 2 points clear of fellow Brit and F2 rival from 2018, George Russell. And because it's a wildcard race, you get to look at the bottom half of the standings as well. So Vettel drops down to 13th place on 11 points, joint on points with Leclerc, so both Ferraris outside the top 12. With K-Mag up to 15th now, getting some points on the board. With 10 points in this race, ahead of Alex Albon in the Red Bull, who's on 8. He's 1 point clear from Mick Schumacher, who gets his first points of the season. Then you got Haryanto in 18th on 5, ahead of Gasly and Stroll, who got their first points as well with 2 and 1. And finally now onto the Constructor Standings, and with 2 1-2s maximum points, it's no wonder Toyota have found themselves now 40 points clear of the nearest rival, which is now Renault, go now into P2. But they're still 40 points behind after 2 races, with Mercedes dropping down to 3rd now, 51 points off the lead. Alfa Romeo up into P4 on 26 points, so pretty modest start to the season for Alpha so far. Well, we're ahead of Red Bull, so I'll definitely take that. You've got Williams then up into 6th place on 22 points. 1 point behind Red Bull, also joint with Ferrari, but with better result for Latifi. Gets them ahead of Ferrari. Then we have AlphaTauri down into 8th place now on 18 points, which I think is still way more points than they got last year. So it's still an improvement for the team already. You've got McLaren in 9th, also on 18 points, but again, better result. From Seti Camera keeps AlphaTauri in front. With Aston Martin now dropping down into P10 on 15 points, but still 15 points after 2 races. Definitely nothing to be ashamed of from the team. So that's it for round 2 of the season. I mean, it's a short track. It's hard to overtake, but there's still plenty of action. It's all about the really you have to earn your paycheck there to make moves on this shortened layout. So remember to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment down below as well about the race if you enjoyed it. Also check out the wiki for this season, which will be updated soon now after this race. And got one for the season, all the past seasons as well, and sometimes even a sneak peek of what's to come up in the future. If you fancy giving that a read, then definitely go and check that out now. I'll be linked in the description as well, along with a poll to vote for your driver of the day for this race. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.